The meeting for Commission on Disabilities this evening, May 3rd, 2021, 6:41 p.m. And the first thing that we will do is take a roll call, and it will be a verbal check. So everyone please answer yes. Lynn Valancourt, I am here and present. Crystal Evans.
Here.
And Mary Russo.
Mary, you need to unmute yourself. Mary? Let me, if you permit me, I can try and call her. Can you hear, Mary, can you speak?
Yep, can you hear me now?
For some reason, you're not coming through on the meeting, but I have you on my phone. So Lynn and Crystal, can you hear Mary?
Yes, I could hear Mary speaking to you.
Okay. So I'm just going to leave my phone open so that Mary can participate in the meeting. So Mary, Lynn had called for a call to order and was asking if you were present. Mary? Hello?
Mary Russo present.
Okay, great. And I do not see, at this point, I do not see Robin Torpe here. If she does enter, we will certainly make recognition there. Also present at our meeting this evening, we have Christina Zaniti. Christina, are you here? I recognize you're not a member of the commission, but are you also present? Could you answer that one more time?
Can you hear me? I'm here. I'm
There
here.
you go. Great. Okay. And then Mary Beth McGrath, you are also present. Could you please verbalize that?
Mary Beth McGrath present. Thank you.
Okay. We also have a member of the mayor's office here who is listening in on the item. Is that correct?
So Stephen Leary is here as the host. He's the one that opened the meeting and is kind of operating it for us.
Okay, perfect. Stephen, I will have a question for you a little bit later when it comes time for the things about closed captioning. So if you could remain available, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely, I will be here, Madam Chairwoman.
Great. So the first item on the agenda that we will be doing is taking a look. We all received the meetings, the minutes of the meetings from March and from, hang on, I believe it's a meeting before or after March, from April and from March. So we're first going to be taking a look at the March minutes. If people have had a chance to go through those, and I'll give everybody just a minute or so, and then if we can have a motion to accept the minutes of the meetings.
You need a motion?
Yes.
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Okay, and so we have Crystal Evans making a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting for March 1st. Do we have a second? Mary?
Second. Mary Russo second.
Okay, all in favor, we'll take a verbal recognition. Lynn Valancourt, yes. Crystal Evans?
Yes.
Okay, and Mary Russo?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the minutes for the April 5th meeting. Once again, we'll just take a minute to look over the notes that we have, and then I'll be asking for a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting. And do I have anyone who can give a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting from April 5th?
I can, this is Crystal.
Okay, Crystal gives a motion for accepting the April 5th meeting minutes. Mary, do I have a second on that?
Mary Russo second.
Okay, and now we'll take a verbal for all in favor. Lynn Valencourt, yes. Crystal Evans,
Yes.
yes, and Mary Luso.
Mary Russo, yes.
Okay, so all accepting the minutes of the meetings. The next item on the agenda, informational from Christina Zanidi. We are going to be having a discussion of the use of AC parking cones for the closed captioning of COD monthly meetings members. And here's where I actually have a question, or I'm going to just verbalize something. So if everyone can mute their items, and then I'll just let people know.
That was the informational part that I was going to say. That,
Oh,
so
okay,
it wasn't
all right.
anything new, yeah.
So what I
We just
wanted
had
to bring.
consistent requests
Okay.
for closed captioning. So yeah, I didn't have anything other than that.
Okay, this evening, if everyone can just mute for just a moment. This evening I was talking with my husband because he performs a lot of Zoom meetings and does a lot of meetings. I'm not sure how long our meetings are going to be on Zoom, but there are platforms that have closed captioning within the actual program. I know that Teams has a voice to text recognition, and we tried it out this evening using a headset and just talking into a phone. And it actually, I mean, it's not absolutely perfect, but they definitely have it. He also checked and said that Zoom does have this as part of their platform. So Stephen, this is where I'm going to be checking with you, the person who sets up the meetings. Is there a place to actually activate that on Zoom so that we can go ahead and have it essentially works as closed captioning for the actual Zoom meeting? So I wanted to check with you and see if that is available on Zoom, because according to the website and according to Zoom, they have it available.
Sure. So through the chair, the town has been looking into various different providers for closed captioning. Zoom does have a feature. As far as that I'm aware, for closed captioning, it relies on somebody actually transcribing during the meeting through the actual Zoom itself. If not, I can definitely look into that further. But like I said, there are other ways that we can get closed captioning other than Zoom, because as far as I'm aware, we would have to either have somebody on the panel or in attendance transcribing that throughout the meeting.
Well, when I just did it with my husband, the computer did it. Like, he talked into his headset, and as he was talking, the strip was writing down and nobody was writing anything. So if it has voice to text recognition within the program, would we need to have, there was no transcriber necessary when we were using it. Now, I didn't use it on Zoom, but I'm assuming, or I don't know, but I'm anticipating that if Microsoft Teams has it as part of their thing, that Zoom may also have something similar. The actual computer recognizes your voice. There is no transcriber necessary.
Yeah, that's something that I will certainly look into. In my conversations with kind of my counterpart who does the school Zoom meetings, that's not something he was aware of either. But it's definitely something that we could look into if we have a setting on the back end where we can have just voice to talk, transcriptions for the meetings. We would definitely be able to do that. It's just not something that I have been made aware of yet.
Okay. Crystal, do you have a comment? I'm noticing you moving.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes. I'm like, there are ways to do it. However, Zoom is currently being sued because they actually do not provide the service. Is your husband's account a business account or is it a private Zoom account?
He didn't do it on Zoom. We
Okay.
did it on
No, like
Microsoft Teams.
Google Teams, Skype, they all offer this. Zoom does not. Zoom is being sued because it's not in compliance with the ADA to charge people for this service. But this is why I keep suggesting there's other platforms such as Otter AI that it's a low cost per month that they could implement into it, and it would provide the same captioning. as a third party thing. We use it with other state meetings that I'm involved in regularly. And when they use Otter AI, it's also recording everything as notes, which would be beneficial for whoever's taking meeting minutes, because then it's just a matter of going through and editing the live meeting transcription to make notes versus having to catch every detail of what went on through a meeting. Does that make sense?
It does, it does. So Steve, actually, oh, go ahead,
Sorry,
Mary Beth.
through the chair. Crystal had sent the information last week on that subject matter, and that was forwarded to the mayor's office. As Stephen has mentioned, the town is looking at many different types of platforms to try and decide which would be the best for the town's use. Because this is not the only meeting, there would be other meetings.
Okay, and then I was just curious because I know when we were prepping for the meeting, we initially thought that, in order to have closed captioning, I wasn't sure how closed captioning worked as far as, when it goes on TV and all that stuff. And I know at a previous years, a couple of years ago now, we had tried to have some closed captioning, and the cost is really quite high. And I know that Beld was not able to do it because of the cost. And we do have a lot of meetings that are there that would need to have that. So if we're taking a look at the platform, and the platform, if we're using whatever platform, and the platform can help us do it without charging us for technical closed captioning, I think that may work pretty well. I don't know if I don't know how long our Zoom meetings are going to continue. That may also be another factor, in that the Commission on Disabilities was never a videotaped meeting before. We always just met. And then it was already always audio taped, and meeting minutes were available, but we were never put on Beld, and we were never videotaped before. We only became videotaped during the pandemic in order to have Zoom meetings. So it all, it depends on how long we're going to be having Zoom meetings or meetings remotely, whether we are going to go back in person, and again, what the platform is that we will choose, and what's the most cost-effective platform to use. Stephen, do you have any other additions or comments or anything like that?
No, I would just refer back to Crystal's comments. That is probably our main platform that we're looking into using, because of the cost and what it supplies for the closed captioning, as she referenced, for the notes and the meeting minutes that it takes. If we thought it would be most beneficial to use that platform. That's kind of all I would add, Madam Chairwoman.
To add cost into this, Otter charges, if you pay annually, it's $20 a month. So that would be $240 a year to provide the service, which is a very low cost way to caption stuff, when otherwise it could be easily $200 an hour to do CART in a meeting. So, and I had also, previous to the pandemic, repeatedly brought up to the commission around the possibility of using Zoom or another platform to give people with disabilities in our community access to the meetings that can't physically attend due to their disability or transportation barriers. So it's like, I feel like if we look into this, that moving forward, we should also consider still staying on Zoom, even if we're meeting in person, just to have a Zoom running. And if we've got this, then we're providing a low cost accommodation for people that are deaf or hard of hearing or having auditory processing issues. And it's much cheaper than paying a CART interpreter, and CART is hard to get. There are very few people that provide CART services, and the demand is high, and if you don't book out weeks in advance, it's a problem. But if we have a fallback of an AI option, artificial intelligence, then we've met, it's about the same standard as what CART would be. It's still, that case is a human typing. Most of these people are pretty accurate, but it would meet the standard of need for people with disabilities requiring visual text.
And just to piggyback on what Crystal said about cart services, there were many times when we were having in-person meetings where I sent in the request several weeks in advance, and they just didn't have, the Massachusetts Department of Deaf and Hard of Hearing just didn't have the people, or there were conflicts with dates. So it was, you know, oh, we're going to try to do what we can, and they did. They absolutely did. But when it came down to it, a few times they just couldn't fill it because of, you know, lack of people, et cetera. So that's an esteemed point as well. I also have just one other quick thing. I have my monthly ADA meeting, coordinator meeting on Wednesday, and this is a topic that we're going to be discussing as well, because other towns and cities throughout the state are having the same concern and the same issue with you know, how to get this up and running for their own meetings as well. So I know they were talking about the Otter AI as well, as one topic, and if anything else comes up, I will pass that along as well if they have other ideas or formats that we may not know of, but I'm sure Miss Evans knows all of it. So I don't think I'll be bringing back anything she hasn't heard of before.
So, Madam Chairman, it looks like Robin Torpey has joined us.
I am so sorry. I apologize. I got distracted, and then when I heard Mary, I apologize. I'm here.
Thank you very much, Robin. We'll make a note that you joined the meeting a little bit later. The only items that we took motion on was accepting the minutes of the meetings, and right now we're discussing how to get from text to text recognition for the meetings that are hard of hearing or that require it. So that we're discussing that at this point.
So, Madam Chairman, at this point, the reason we wanted to bring this forward is this type of thing, this type of cost is not something that I would normally have money in the budget for. I mean, I have the only monies I have in the Commission on Disabilities account that I have operations for the meeting minutes in the preparation of those. So I don't have any extra money that's, you know, available to pay for something like this. So the request by the department and the town is to see if the commission would endorse use of the handicap parking fine account to pay just for any service like this for closed captioning, just for Commission on Disabilities meetings. Other departments would be responsible for providing that service with use of their own funding wherever they're able to get it from. So it would not be a wholesale across the board. It would just be a request for blanket expenditure for what the cost would be to accommodate this on a monthly basis for the Commission on Disabilities meetings.
Mary Beth, when there are other town meetings, is somebody always on as the host from the mayor's office?
Stephen can speak better to that. I think that between he and a representative of the school department, that they kind of oversee as host of the meetings because they're the ones that set them all up. So I believe it's Stephen and another person.
Well, here's my thought on this is, if you go with Otter AI, it's, when I said the $20 a month, that's for a business, that's not a personal plan. If you use the business model at $20 a month, it would be applied to the host account and would work for any town meeting, not just ours, which benefits every town department if we were willing to pay for the service.
Well, that would be even better for the town, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is why I think
the only thing I would need to find out from Stephen is, because there may be two different hosts, he being one of them and the representative from the school department, if that's considered two separate accounts or how that works. I don't know the Zoom piece of it, but Stephen and the school representative could speak more to that.
This is, okay, so they charge $20 per user. But what I would propose is figure out how many accounts we need. But if we were to vote on this tonight, I would suggest that we set a budget of $1,000. That would give up to 4 accounts to be used under Otter, and that would cover the whole town, so people aren't scrambling department to department to provide accessibility.
Okay.
If we just, I mean, we could do more than that. We could say 2,000, and then figure out what's actually needed or who should have all these host account accesses. This may be beneficial for department heads as well. You never know who's sitting in a meeting, may be deaf or hard of hearing. That does lip read. That it may benefit town employees that are not asking for accommodations.
Okay. Well, I would appreciate it if the commission would then consider upwards of $2,000, and that way I can investigate with Stephen how many account holders there are, because I truly do not know how the Zoom operates as far as hosting and how many accounts they have.
See, I feel like this is important for them, as well as for even school committee meetings, the town council meetings, any public meeting. But then if the hosts are still involved with town level meetings, it would still be beneficial within the town departments for them to even just have this feature, because it does take notes.
I think what we need to consider right now, what we are able to do is, one, we can decide on a monies limit, but really we don't know how much it's going to be or what they're going to allow us to do until a representative from the town contacts them to figure out how do they work out these things, and we figure out how many users we would need to have and how all that would work. One thing I do know is that if it is every single meeting, even at that cost, we probably would not be able to afford it year after year if whatever monies we decide to give forth, we all have to recognize that that is monies that we do not have for another project that the Commission on Disabilities may or may not, fund, because this is all coming from the same pot. So if we want to go with $2,000, I think that that's great. I do think we need to decide on an upper limit as far as what amount of money we're willing to have come out of our account, and then approve that as a blanket approval to go toward the closed captioning for the town, and then go from there. But I do want members, as we take this vote, to recognize that whatever amount that we give, we have to recognize that that's coming out of our budget, and that will not be able to get put towards another project that we have. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I hear you. I think it's also critical that we provide communication access for all members.
I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just making sure that everyone understands that when we give an upper limit amount, we just have to decide what that amount will be. And then we just have to recognize that that's coming out of our account. And that is going to be, right now, a one-time account to be able to go towards this, but that this is going to end up being a yearly type of thing that's going to come out. And is that going to, we'd have to have further discussions after this approval amount to make sure that the town is budgeting appropriately for these items.
Right. Just so that, this year is kind of an unprecedented one with the pandemic, and because of the pandemic and it's the outcome of it, all of the town departments were subject to a 10% cut on our budget for this coming fiscal year in 2022, which was substantial for all of us. So that left me with no able to pay for this. That's why I'm coming forward tonight, both Christina and I, asking for this. But if you're willing to endorse an expenditure for up to $2,000, that would be helpful for other town departments. But as a whole, the town, that would give us time into the following fiscal year to try and find monies to be able to pay for this on a routine basis.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So what we'd like to, so actually, coming over to you, Mary, what do you think about the utilization of the, okay, somebody has an item that's not on, that's really distracting. Okay.
Well, Mary, can you turn off your mic on the or actually disconnect from the meeting? Because I think that there may be some interference between you. There you go. Okay, now you can speak.
Okay. So Mary, what do you feel about going? Do you have any opinions or general comments concerning the closed captioning for the meetings?
Financially, if community $2,000 a year, I think would be a big cut into our budget, but I think $2,000 would be a reasonable amount to start off with. But my question is too, is there any hopes in moving forward and doing in-person meetings? Has there been any discussion on that?
As the governor starts to open up more things, there is certainly, they're certainly starting to roll those things out. I don't know what the mayor's decision is yet to start opening all meetings completely. So that's definitely something that's going to be under discussion, is what I've been advised of. So I don't really have an answer for you right now for future meetings, but it is under discussion.
Okay,
And
thank you.
something else to consider is that when we do have in-person meetings, we still will need to somehow accommodate for the people who are hearing impaired. And so even if we have in-person meetings, we should be able to still utilize this type of technology to be able to accommodate those people better than we have in the past with the CART system. Robin, hang on one sec. I just want to get an opinion from Robin first, because she hasn't had a chance to comment at all. Robin, do you have any comments or general items concerning the closed captioning?
Yes, I do. Number one, are there any grants to cover this, like from the Mass Disability? Because it is something for the public. And another thing is, why can't all departments chip in the same amount if they all have meetings? If everybody has one meeting a month, why can't everybody chip in the same amount so it's not just draining our budget?
Well, Robin, one thing that I had discussed with the board, the commission, and which is why we brought this forward, was I don't have the money in my budget to cover it. I don't. And
Right.
initially it was speaking just about the Commission on Disabilities meetings, not all town meetings. Crystal had mentioned a platform that seems to be a cost-effective platform that may be able to provide, at least for the year, for other meetings, depending upon how many users there are for Zoom. So that's certainly something that's going to be looked into. But the expectation in the future moving forward would be that each town and board or whatever that has meetings would need to try and find the cost, the funding to pay for this.
What about Beld? Does Beld come into pact with this?
We've already checked with Bell. They don't have a service to provide this.
Okay.
And I would be happy to donate a small amount of funds. That was helpful.
I think that the suggestion of $2,000 would definitely give a good starting point for hopefully for this to be able to move forward, the town decide on the platform and then implement it. And then going forward again, and be in communication with the other departments and the boards as far as with the mayor's involvement and the chief of staff, and then find funds to be able to cover this.
I liken this not unlike many years ago, probably like 10 years ago or so, when we purchased the availability of amplifiers to be able to be used within the town meetings. So I think that it would be, I think it definitely is helpful to have these items. And I mean, it's required for us, but if we can help out without having a significant impact on any other projects that we're doing, I think that that would be helpful.
I just put in the chat the website with the pricing of what this includes. And I am pretty sure it would be considered a business category. With some of these AI transcribing services, they also have a link where you can watch it as well. We've used this for outdoor events requiring CART, where the people who need it are just given a link and they can open it on their phone and read the live transcription on their phone. So in the future, this could be implemented into in-person meetings as well.
Okay. So if there are no objections to anybody from the Commission on Disability, what I would be looking for is a motion to appropriate up to $2,000 with a blanket use for obtaining of the, and what's the system called, AI? Or for the obtaining the system for closed captioning to be able to be used for the town services. And then, Mary Beth, is there any other item that I would need to have put into that motion?
You're on mute.
The commission this evening would be endorsing the amount that you've mentioned for this expenditure. So you don't approve the expenditure, you endorse it. Then I have to send a letter to the mayor asking his approval.
There you go. Okay. So can I ask for a motion to endorse the expending of $2,000 towards the use of closed captioning equipment to be used for the town of Braintree?
I'll make the motion. This is Crystal.
Okay.
And
Crystal,
I'll second it.
Robin Torpey seconds, and now we'll take a verbal count for this. Lynn Valancourt is a yes for endorsing the expenditure of up to $2,000. Crystal Evans,
Yes.
Mary Russo,
Mary Russo, yes.
and Robin Torpey.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion passes for endorsing this expenditure. Okay. I think that was the big item that we wanted to go ahead and get to for this evening's meeting. I'm just checking, Christina, is there anything else that you need to update us on?
No, we're all set, but Miss Evans did want to bring up the
Oh, that's right.
potential of if everything is declared okay, of the parade.
Yep.
Braintree Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I need to interrupt before that happens. Mr. Walsh has chatted, put a message in the chat. And he's got his hand raised. What about Wednesday? What time on Wednesday? I don't know what that means.
I do. He asked that question when Christina mentioned having an ADA coordinator meeting on Wednesday, I believe.
Oh,
Sorry, that's just my monthly meeting.
that's a monthly coordinator meeting.
Just, yeah, for
It's
myself.
not a commission meeting.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. And then Mary Beth, I understand that you need to move on to another meeting.
I do. I have to move on to the school committee meeting. However, I have Mary Russo on my phone. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
going to be a
In that
problem
case,
if I
we're
hang
gonna
up.
do right ahead and we'll go ahead and talk about, I know that bringing up other business, I know that Crystal had received communication from the 4th of July committee, wondering whether or not Commission on Disabilities was again going to march in the 4th of July. I know we have done every year since 2016. And so I was checking, I'm gonna let Crystal very quickly, just let us know whether or not we need to say yes, no, maybe. And Crystal, why don't you very quickly just give us a brief what we need to know.
Basically, Ed Kelly, who's the organizer for the parade every year, is asking if we are going to be participating this year. And I need to give him an answer soon because the parade is what, in about 7-8 weeks. And then come up with the ideas for what we're gonna do, but we don't need to come up with the idea for the parade tonight. We could put that on next month's agenda of, like, one year we brought the beach wheelchair in. Another year we brought info about the C-Click Fix app for people to report access barriers. I haven't even really thought about what we're gonna do. I just need to give them a yes or a no. And we do have commission banners and signs in storage somewhere with DPW.
So just so that you do know that the governor's order only allows for 50% capacity for parades, which I don't know exactly how we're going to do that, but the mayor is starting internal department meetings this Friday to discuss the parade and how it's going to be operated. So I would definitely have more information after that meeting with the mayor and the town department heads. But at this time, I don't. So I don't know the makeup of the parade. I don't know what they're planning to do. Once I do, I can send an email to let you know.
Should we, if everybody's on board, notify Ed that we will be there, but we will just have to, obviously, like every other group, watch and see exactly what the plan is and have this on next month's agenda to discuss if there's something we wanna, a theme.
I'm certainly, we can certainly say that we would be interested in participating, but we might need to see what they're doing as far as how they would be cutting the size of the parade or what they're doing. I am not available to be able to do as I in previous years. It's not something that I am able to participate in, but I certainly would support the commission in doing so if they wanted to. Robin, do you have any comments, or would you be interested in having the commission participate in the parade?
The commission, I think it's a wonderful thing, but I will not be able to participate. I could help out, but I would not be able to participate. Sorry. And I think anything we do to make awareness for, our lives matter, and, as disabled persons, and anything to, just like with everything else, just get it moving. Friendly hello to everybody. And I think that would go a long way. But if there's anything I can do, I can draw and everything if anybody needs. But unfortunately, I can't walk in a parade.
All right, and Mary, would you be interested in having Commission on Disabilities participate in the 4th of July parade?
Able to help in any way. I just don't know what.
So it sounds like we can. It's just a matter of what would be the criteria, how they're going to be handling the parade. So we can certainly tell Ed that we are interested, I would think, and then certainly put it on the agenda for next month so that we can find out the results of the meeting that is upcoming and see what's happening. Does that sound like an appropriate summation of what we plan to do?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. How does that sound, Crystal?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable. I can let Ed know. We will participate. I have no idea what we're gonna do. And I mean, it's not like we can bring a crowd with us or anything. So
Right. Exactly.
I'll
So,
think
I mean,
outside the box.
We'll have to see. We'll think outside. Maybe we'll be giving information about the closed captioning. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm like, I'll
but,
come up with something.
we'll think of something. So okay, that sounds great. So those are the topics that we had. And I do know, Mary Beth, now that that you need to run off to another meeting. And thank you so much for having Mary participate. Do I have a motion for ending the meeting?
I'll make it the motion. This is Crystal.
Okay, Crystal makes a motion. A second for finishing the meeting.
I'll second the motion. It's Robin.
Okay, all in favor, Lynn Valencourt, yes. Crystal Evans,
Yes.
Mary Russo,
Yeah.
and Robin Torpe.
Yes.
Okay, the meeting is closed, 7:19 on Monday, May 3rd. Thank you, Mary Beth, Christina, and Stephen from the mayor's office for participating. And thank you for all of you, for all the public for listening in on our meeting this evening. Thanks once again.
Everybody stay safe.
Okay, thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.